Hello and welcome to Camp Xtras. Mario and sports had been a well-done combo by the end of the 6th generation. You had some stellar Mario Golf and tennis games, and it was time for Mario to tackle a new sport. So in comes Super Mario Strikers at the end of 2005, marking his first foray into soccer, and his last foray on the GameCube. I played through it recently, and I'll give you some history along with a review. All footage was captured off of a GameCube, and let's go ahead and hop into this one. In early 2005, the Vancouver-based studio Next Level Games was hard at work on a prototype for a Mario soccer game. They had previously worked on NHL Hitz Pro, which was a great fast-paced hockey game, so they knew what they were doing. Also, many of the team members had come from EA Black Box, where they worked on Sega Soccer Slam, which is a very similar game in design to this one. And they ended up showing the prototype to Nintendo and got the green light. Mario had already dabbled in sports, but it was time for him to hop into another one. They had originally designed a realistic Mario sports game, but after deliberation with Nintendo, they decided to lean into an over-the-top style. This game wasn't revealed to the public until E3 2005, where it got a reel at that year's presentation. This is the same E3 where they would go more in depth into what was called the Nintendo Revolution at the time, or as it's now known, the Nintendo Wii, so the time for GameCube games was waning. Though there was some hype there with outlets looking at this game, and it seemed like the key focus was on the wackier elements such as power-ups and the Super Strike that let you kick goals with a special veracity. One fun thing is that this game was playable at the Nintendo Fusion Tour, which was an event where Nintendo games were promoted alongside bands like Panic at the Disco and Fall Out Boy, which seems like a perfect encapsulation of 2005. Without delay, Strikers would hit Europe first in November of 2005, and then North America on December 5th, 2005. Japan and Australia would not receive it until 2006. And I personally have played a little bit of this in multiplayer, but that was forever ago, and I was interested in playing this fully again. So I went through it, and let me tell you how I felt about it, starting with the gameplay. Mario Strikers is a soccer game through and through, and as far as fluff goes, there's none of it here. There's no story mode or anything like that. Here you can choose between playing a game with AI or multiple local people. You can go through a cup, which is a tournament-style face-off against other teams, and then a harder cup mode, which you unlock after beating the first cup mode. If you want a bunch of minigames or a structured mode, you won't get that here, which is probably my biggest disappointment here. It's definitely a game that lives on multiplayer, but I would have liked a bit more, a structured mode or a mix of minigames to break up all the matches to inject a little variety. Though, when you get into the soccer gameplay, it's an easy thing not to worry about. The soccer gameplay is a blast in Strikers. Next Level took that arcade-inspired sports style and gave it even more life, setting it in the world of Mario. Here you get to pick from one of the Mario cast, and each one has their own stats. Mario is more balanced, Donkey Kong is more aggressive, and so on and so forth. You also get to add a bunch of minions to your team because only one Mario character can be on a team. If you are playing alone, your main mode is going to be the Cup mode, which has you facing off against various teams to be number one in the league. Soccer games take place on a tiny field, and this game is speedy. You score goals constantly against these goalies, and the speed you run at keeps the pacing on this one insanely good. It all feels great on the controller too, and makes for a smooth arcadey experience. The fact that goals are scored so frequently makes this game have tension every time the games are down to the wire. Passing and hitting are easy hits of the button, but you also gain power-ups. You can use things like giant shells that knock out players or mushrooms that speed you up. These change the game and create a chaotic nature that makes this soccer game far more thrilling fitting into the Mario world. You also get super smashes, which are charged up kicks that when done with minions leads to a powerful kick that can dodge the goalie. But on Mario characters, it leads into a quick time event that makes for unmissable shots if hit correctly. They're hard to hit, so it's not broken, but when you hit one, it feels awesome. These are show-stopping moments along with the lob passes in the air, which has you kicking in the air and then you can air kick it into the goal. This game always has something going on and you're always trying to slide tackle the opposition when you're on defense, and it's all done on such a tiny field and there's no lull in gameplay, and it makes for something intensely fun. Throw in 3 other players and you are guaranteed to have a blast the entire time you play it. Not only that, but this game is extremely easy to pick up and play. There's something about that simplicity that makes this one shine when playing it. But once again, I wish there was more. The more you play, the more you unlock for custom matches, but I do wish there was some other type of mode to give this game more longevity. In this case, you play a few of the cups, you take a break, and maybe return to it for multiplayer matches. Though when you do play it, it's going to be a great time. This game hits you with a crazy yell from who I think is Daisy right off the bat.
Nintendo! Next level games!
This perfectly captures this game. If there's anything to take out of this game, it's that all of the Mario characters are aggressive. The music is loud, the characters are in your face, and the sounds are crazy. The voice work is surprisingly aggressive for the Mario cast. They are very in your face and braggy, which I kind of love. It makes it stand out for Mario, and I think the amount of voice lines here is surprisingly good. Throw in all the sound effects, which are full of shell hits and Bowser stomping and destroying the field, and it makes for a satisfying, chaotic feeling. The music is really good too. I wouldn't say it stands up there with Nintendo music greats, but it's still a lot of fun. It has a lot of crowd noises, whistles, and chants. It feels like being at a soccer game with a loud crowd noise. The music here is fun and fits right into the chaos on the field. The game looks solid on the GameCube too, with an art style that I actually adore. Looking through the manual for strikers, it has this cartoony art style with dark black outlines. It's aggressive and strong, and it matches the tone of the game perfectly. Characters also look clean in-game and have great animations, and having them run around on the field, it really does feel like a strong graphical end for the GameCube. There's a bunch of fun animations, and the variety in all of the Super Striker kicks is surprisingly good, along with the win animations. The frame rate, unfortunately, can be inconsistent though. Most of the time it's good, but in particularly chaotic scenes, it can get a little out of hand, and the replay mode generally runs poorly. Another negative here is the stadiums. They have some fun ones, like a Yoshi one, but otherwise they feel uninspired. Simple backgrounds and flat characters. I would want more exploration into the Mushroom Kingdom, but unfortunately, a lot of this doesn't do anything special, and it's quite limited where you go. So it's a little weak on variety, but in terms of actual look, I would say it's great. Super Mario Super Strikers is purely a fun Mario sports game. It plays excellently with a simple layout, which makes the matches chaotic in the best way possible. It's a blast running around and shooting over and over. It's a great sports experience. Despite some frame rate issues and a lack of game modes, it still stands out as a good time. Good for a few sessions and a great multiplayer night. I recommend giving this one a shot. Super Mario Strikers was released to generally favorable reviews according to Metacritic with a 76 out of 100. IGN gave it a 7.6, saying that it was the quintessential arcade sports title, but hated the lack of game modes. GameSpot gave it a 7.2, saying it was fun and fast-paced, but it didn't feel Mario enough. Nintendo Power would give it a 7.5, reiterating that it was great, but needed more to do. For being a late GameCube game, Strikers would do extremely well, selling 1.6 million copies according to VG charts, making it into the top 20 of the best-selling GameCube games of all time. It was a certified hit, so you know it couldn't be left alone by Nintendo. With Next Level's next game being the follow-up to this series on the Wii. Next Level continued the decades after this strong, but Nintendo would have them make a few games like Luigi's Mansion 2 and 3, and Nintendo actually bought them in 2021, leading them to work on the third Mario Strikers entry on the Switch. Nowadays, I see a lot of nostalgia for this series, and if you look at the user aggregate website Backlogged, you will see plenty of people who love this as a party game. It holds a 3.7 out of 5 and has around 6,000 plays. Many state that they don't love sports games, but it hits the right spot. That's exactly how I feel, and this game is pure arcade sports action that is hard to put down. But that wraps it up for today. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like, it helps me out in the algorithm. Subscribe to keep up with more retro content like this, and check out my main channel, Camp Xbox, for more retro Xbox content. And I'll see you here next time at Camp Xtras.